Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating experiment. We're testing if you actually need a celebrity-sized budget to build an incredible physique. You know, we hear it all the time, right? To look like a pro, you gotta have the bank account of a pro. But is that actually true? Let's find out.
So, in one corner, we've got a full day of eating, training, and recovering, capped at a rock-bottom budget limit of just $10. Literally a $10 bill. We're going to see exactly what kind of macros and gym sessions you can squeeze out of the spare change you probably have in your couch cushions. And we're juxtaposing that directly against a day armed with a massive $10,000 luxury budget. We're talking world-class chefs, elite celebrity personal trainers, and the absolute most cutting-edge recovery techniques money can buy. Here is how we're going to break down this explainer across the core pillars of bodybuilding, just to discover where your money actually matters. First up, the $10,000 question. Second, fueling up with diet and supplements. Third, the cost of training. Fourth, the price of recovery. And finally, the final verdict. All right, section 1, the $10,000 question, does money buy muscle? Let's set up the premise of this extreme comparison. You know, celebrities like LeBron James reportedly spend millions of dollars on their bodies every single year. So it's really easy to assume that physical perfection requires massive wealth. But here's the thing. The actual physiological gap between a budget routine and a luxury routine, it might completely surprise you. Moving into section 2, fueling up with diet and supplements. Budget hacks versus Michelin chefs. Honestly, this is where we're going to see the most practical and immediate hacks for your wallet. Surprisingly, high-quality protein can be incredibly cheap when you actually run the numbers. Look at this. You can get a solid 40 grams of protein from lentils for just 66 cents. Milk takes the number 2 spot at 81 cents, and classic chicken breast comes in at $1.17. And ironically, classic whey protein powder, everyone's absolute go-to, actually ranked 6th on this list. This brilliantly illustrates that by utilizing some smart hacks, you can easily build a highly nutritious, macro-friendly diet for just pennies a day. Grab frozen or canned veggies for cheaper nutrient density. Rely on things like sunflower seeds and peanut butter for cheap, healthy fats. Toss in staple carbs like rice, oats, and bananas. Oh, and add in bulk creatine at just 15 cents a day, plus a 5-cent multivitamin. Your entire nutritional foundation is set without breaking the bank. Okay, but how do you fuel your workouts? We're comparing a simple black coffee, which is roughly 25 cents a serving, to a premium pre-workout sitting at 87 cents a scoop. Now, studies actually show that caffeine on its own is just as effective as those expensive multi-ingredient pre-workouts. That makes your basic 25-cent cup of coffee the clearly superior budget choice, total game changer. Now, this financial gap widens dramatically when we get to main meals. Compare an amazingly nutritious, home-cooked turkey and veggie stir-fry for roughly $2.83 to hiring an elite Michelin chef for 5 hours at $2,500. Yes, the chef's truffled seafood risotto and oyakodon will taste absolutely incredible. It makes dieting feel completely effortless. But at the end of the day, the actual macronutrients your body digests remain essentially identical. All right, section 3, the cost of training. $10 gyms versus celebrity hypertrophy coaches. Let's see how the cost of moving weights scales up when you have unlimited funds. The contrast here is just staggering. You can get a massive hypertrophy stimulus, pushing yourself to total failure in a 45-minute session at a standard budget gym for about 33 cents a day. Or, get this, just 19 cents using resistance bands at home. Contrast that with dropping $2,100 for 3 hours with someone like Joe Bennett, a legendary hypertrophy coach who trains Mr. Olympia champions at $700 an hour. But here is the ultimate hack. Knowledge transfer. We are distilling that $2,100 expert advice right here into 3 completely free, actionable cues you can take to your next workout. First, tuck your elbows on cable rows and pull-ups to dramatically better engage your lats. Second, extend your range of motion on Romanian deadlifts until your back is parallel to the floor to target those spinal erectors. And third, keep your chest up on supported rows to stretch the mid-trops without rounding forward. Boom, free gains. Now, to be fair, science does show that personal trainers significantly increase muscle growth, mostly because they push you harder than you'd probably push yourself. But if you leverage the incredible amount of free online information available today and just bring your own intensity, that playing field levels out super quickly. Self-motivation really is the great equalizer here. Moving on to Section 4, the price of recovery. Sensory deprivation and luxury spas. When you have $10,000 to blow, recovery gets pretty wild. We're talking sensory deprivation float tanks, where you float weightlessly in skin temperature saltwater in total darkness. You can follow that up with custom deep tissue back and leg massages, or even luxurious facial massages. Dropping over $1,000 on these premium spa packages absolutely helps your muscles and brain completely relax. But it really begs the question, are these premium services physiologically mandatory for your games? Which brings us to Section 5, the final verdict, capital versus consistency. Let's evaluate the true return on investment for all this luxury and sum up the experiment. When we look at the immense, diminishing returns of spending thousands of dollars in a single day, we have to objectively answer the big question we started with. Did the massive budget actually create a physiological advantage? Like, does money actually buy muscle? Well, to answer that, let's look at this quote, which beautifully highlights the reality. It says, "You can get recovery benefits at no cost by going for a walk outside. Sleeping is also free and probably the single best thing you can do for recovery." That's right. The absolute most effective recovery tools on the entire planet cost absolutely nothing, $0. So let's look at the final tally. On one side, we have an incredibly efficient $892 budget day where macros were met, training was intense, and sleep was totally dialed in. Against that, we have a luxury day racking up around $6,000 for amazing culinary taste, elite expert cues, and deep spa relaxation. While the luxury day offers immense convenience and precision, that $892 budget day delivers practically the exact same baseline physiological stimulus for muscle growth. So the major takeaway from this entire explainer is simple. Consistency and effort scale so much better than capital. Training hard, eating the right calories and protein, and recovering well, they just do not require a massive bank account. Your approach absolutely doesn't need to be perfectly luxurious to be highly effective. I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. Since the ultimate tools for building muscle are essentially free, what is holding you back from starting your next fitness goal today? The secrets to getting jacked are clearly accessible to almost anyone. It's simply a matter of when you decide to put in the work. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.